the last time, because we believe here at Hope TV and on the show Real Talk that we need to make sure we are educating people because our children need to be protected. However, child defilement when it comes to the male child is one thing that I believe we do not talk about enough. I mean, we concentrate on the girl child, which is great, do not get me wrong, but I feel like we need to pay attention to the male child as well. That little boy in the house who is quiet, who is obviously not engaging, who is probably called a bad boy because of one thing that he has done or the other. That child can be suffering from child abuse and child defilement. It will surprise you that it can be a close family member or even that house help that you brought into your home to take care of your child. Today's show is going to be a different one. I do not personally have a story for you to share, but I have someone with me today who is going to share his story. He is going to talk about how he was abused, defiled, molested by a house help as a little boy. He's grown today and thankfully he seems to be doing great. But these things have ways of affecting the child. They have ways of causing trauma in the life of children. Hopefully we'll be able to have a good discussion, an educative one, an insightful one that will help all of us. I have psychiatrists in the building. I have people that have studied the mind, psychologists, people that have an idea of how these things can affect children. And then I have a mother, one that's obviously loves her children and would want to protect them at all costs. She has a little boy and a little girl. Hopefully she'll be able to also share her ideas on how these things can be prevented. We are in the studios of Hope TV. The show is Real Talk and my name is Evie, the usual host for the show. You know how we do it. We find you great people who have a good discussion, and we find you amazing topics that are educative, topics that are entertaining, as well as insightful. Today is no different. Just that the routine is a bit different because it will be sort of like an interview. We hear his side of the story, then we come in and have a discussion. Remember, you too can send us your topic or your story through our WhatsApp number or email address. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. You can join us, you can stream live with us, tell a friend to tell a friend. And then you can also leave your comments under the comments section to be part of the conversation. I'd like to introduce my guest to you, but before I do that, let's go for just a quick break. And when we come out, I'll introduce the first guest. He will be in the name of Pastor Kenneth Apiakubi. He was on the show last week. He has a story to tell us. So just a quick break, we'll come back, and then I'll introduce my guest and the story will unfold. Do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk. We'll be right back.
In a world where hopelessness stirs us from dawn to dusk, our only source of solace remains in the blessed hope of our redemption through Jesus Christ. It is for this purpose that the Adventist Youth Ministry, in partnership with the Southwest Ghana Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, brings to you a program dubbed Hope in the Troubled World. God's anointed servants, Pastor Godfrey Kwesi Ataburo and Pastor Alfred Kwesi Esiem, will be ministering to us from the Takoradi Central Seventh-day Adventist Church live on Hope Channel Ghana each day, starting from the 16th to the 22nd of May, 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. each day. This program will replicate in all Adventist churches across the nation. Christ is expecting us to spread the good news. I will go. Will you?
Studios of Hope TV Ghana, and we are coming your way with your favorite show, Real Talk. Before we went on the break, I made mention that today's line of conversation is going to be just slightly different. We have someone here to share a life story with us. This is not hearsay. It happened to him. He is going to share with us what happened, how it happened, how he got out, and how he is doing now. After, we have professionals like a psychiatrist that will be looking at the professional aspect, how these things affect the brain and what have you. We have a mother that will be sharing her experience as a mother and what she would do to protect her child. If you're just joining us, the show is Real Talk, coming your way on Hope TV. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. And today we are going to look at how child molestation, the effects and what it does to our children and the public as a whole. This young man says he was molested by their house help. Interestingly, this is from the perspective of a male child. Okay, let me just go straight ahead and introduce my guest to you. I have Pastor Kenneth Apiakubi. He was with us last week and he's joining us again today. Pastor, if you can hear me, good evening, and how are you doing?
Good evening. I am doing quite well. How are you, Evie?
I am so great. I'm so happy you could join us today.
Yes, I made it possible. God planned it, so I'm here.
Yes. Thank you so much. The next person is Philip Ofori Yentumi. He's a psychiatrist. He studies psychology, so he practices in that field. Philip, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just by divine selection, I'm here today.
We are great to have you in the studio. We are very grateful that you could join us today.
Sure. We thank God for his mercies, and thanks for the invitation also.
Oh.
And good evening to lovely viewers.
Great, always. And the next person joining us is Sathina Ifwa Arthur. She's obviously not a stranger, and she's the mother that I keep talking about. Sathina has two beautiful kids, if I'm not mistaken, a boy and a girl. Sathina, I am so grateful that you could join us today. Welcome to the show once again.
Thank you, Evie. Good evening to everyone. Evie, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm also fine. And my kids are doing well.
Yes, I'm so glad that they are doing well. I think we would have to wish Sathina a belated happy birthday. I saw her kids wishing her a happy birthday. It was so cute. So Sathina, a belated happy birthday. God richly bless you for the amazing work you are doing for him.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, so we go right into the conversation. Kenneth, I'll just start with you. I mean, this is your personal story, and I would want you to share it with us. How did this start? Who was the person that did this to you? How was she introduced to you? Just go ahead and then tell us your experience with child molestation, abuse, defilement, what have you.
All right. Thank you so much. And again, good evening to our beautiful, amazing viewers. So this happened a long back ago when I was about 10 years, I would say. I didn't really celebrate my birthday during those times, so I can't really recall exactly when that was. But I was around that age. You know, in Ghana community system, you visit people in their places, like in their house, and just sometimes you're sent to go collect, like if someone is owing your mother, you're saying, hey, go collect the money for me. And so whatever or not, I went there. And when I went to the place, it started raining, a bit rainy like that day. You know, when it's raining in Ghana, it's raining. So I was told I would not be allowed to walk in the rain. And so I should stay over a little bit before I go home. And so as I was just waiting, got a bit late, around like 9:10. So I was like, well, I should go sleep. And so the person who was involved, who was not a family member, but just a friend who was really close to my family, said, well, you could come sleep in my room. So I was like a little young boy who was not thinking anything. I said, well, that's fine. So I did. And in our culture, we have people sleeping in the same room, opposite sex, is part of our culture, and there's not a big issue about it. And so I was fine and okay to get in there. And so I went there. It was late in the night when I felt someone touching me and trying to get me off my dress. And so I quickly got up, and when I had woken up, apparently the thing had already happened. Before I even noticed that it was happening to me. When a little investigation happened, she had given me like something to drink, like, you know, when you get to someone's house, water or whatever not, and in Ghana, they call it volume 5. So the person had put volume 5 in it. So I literally slept deep into my sleep. And I don't know, it was a terrible experience. And that's all what happened. The person recently got married. And so I would prefer not to mention names on the show, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just to not destroy their relationship or whatever not.
That's okay. We are not even interested in their name or what. But was this a one-time thing that happened to you?
Yes, it was a one time. I really vowed not to go to the house again, not to talk to any woman except my mom and my sister. And so it happened once to me, and that was the experience. And I guess that was one, but that was terrible.
Right, right. So to clarify, this was a woman.
Yeah, this was a woman, a pastor's kid.
Oh, so she was also a child. Was she older?
Well, yeah, she was old. She was about 23-year-old that time.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a 13-year difference, I would say.
Wow, wow, wow. And did you tell your parents what came of this conversation?
Yeah, well, I didn't tell my parents because number one, I didn't want to destroy the relationship between these two kind of friendship. I didn't tell her. I didn't tell my dad wasn't there at that point in time, so there was no daddy relation at that point in time. And so what I did was I didn't speak to anyone at that point specific time. I was worried about it and I got over it until later on in many years that I had to open up to get away with the struggle.
Okay, so my next question obviously will be, after you told, how was it received? Was it received with support? Was it disbelief?
Yeah, they told me I was lying.
Oh, wow.
The person that I told was an uncle. They said, this cannot be true. You are trying to destroy the name of the person and whatever not. So I was hurt for not being accepted and believed. When this happened and when I told the person. And also, it started going off the hook. This person I told started telling other people when they did not even believe what I told them. And so I got a little upset. And so I called in another person that I think I could not trust, but at this point I could probably share my story with. The trusted person failed me. So I had to talk to someone that I probably thought maybe I would have some trust in and share my story.
Okay, so then coming back to your young self, how did you live with this trauma, not being able to share it and keeping it with you and getting to see this person in the circle all the time? How did you live with that experience?
Yeah, there is something about Christianity that has both positive and negative effect. Which was I was like, well, Jesus is my friend and I would just trust him and walk with him. That was the other aspect of my Christian life that helped me going forward, though I saw the person walking around, sometimes would come to our house and all that kind of things. But the other side that really affected me was just being too Christian, and not seeking proper advice or talking to somebody as quick as possible. And so that was having a toll on me. Like I was worried about it. I was confused about it. I was disappointed about if Christians could do this, does it even worth being a Christian? And all that kind of things popping up in my head. But I could also acknowledge that it wasn't only about one person. It's about other people as well. So it was both sides trying to overcome it and at the same time trying to deal with the struggle internally.
Okay, did your mother ever find out, and what was her reaction to this traumatic experience?
She found out when I told her, and she was quite sorry for my experience. She wasn't mad. She was just worried that I didn't tell her earlier. And I said, you could probably not done anything about it at that point in time. That was my thinking. But she was concerned, and she acknowledged the fact that this experience isn't good. And so she was like, have you forgiven the person? And I said, yeah, I have. And then she was asking me a few questions about how I feel and all that kind of things. But I had already started seeking off my own professional help to get me out of the trauma. So that was about it with her.
Okay, so did you get the chance to confront this person? And indeed, have you really forgiven this person? Or
Yeah, I have forgiven. I actually, not to maybe boast, but I actually kind of helped with her wedding in terms of providing some resources and some people to support in the process. So that was a way to let the person know that I've forgiven them. And also to make sure that I would not think about, there's something about forgiveness. We always say forgive and forget, but I don't believe in that. I believe in forgive and not use the whole situation of other person again, because it's hard to forget stories and histories and experiences. And so, yeah, I have truly forgiven the person and I am good now.
Did the person ever apologize to you?
It was like 2x4 apologies. Those 2x4 apologies.
Yeah.
Those ones comes when they don't really feel like they want to apologize.
Right.
But I understood it as the nature of men. So yeah.
And before I go to Philip, I would ask, you mentioned that you sought professional help. What was this process? Was it counseling? Was it therapy? Was it here in Ghana or when you moved to Canada? Like, how was the process?
It wasn't in Ghana. It was here because I had the free resources.
Right.
I was working with this company that had the insurance for it. And so I sought it myself, and it was a counselor and a therapist at the same time.
Wow. This is just sad. I'm just happy that you seem to have healed and moved on, and so I'm just happy that at least you were able to do that. But I'll come to you again, Kenneth, for some follow-up questions. But Philip, you being a psychiatrist and a practitioner, I just want to find out, do you hear stories like this, concentrating on the male child, where a young boy is abused by a family member, family friend, somebody that was brought into the home, all these? Do you hear of it often? Do you think guys shy away from coming up and saying this is what happened to me, or you think it's getting out of hand, or you hear it frequently in your line of profession and also in our society as Ghanaians? I know outside there, they are more open to the conversation, but here in Ghana, is this something that you hear of? And also, in your professional opinion, what are some of the effects this experience can have on the male child?
All right, thank you, Miss Evie, and that is a very loaded question, so I'll try to digest them, one after the other.
Right.
So, first point of whether I've heard it. Yes, I've heard it so many times, and it will surprise people to know how often this happens to young boys. Culturally, both Ghana and in the States, actually. But then the problem is culturally, regardless of where you find yourself, it's being perceived that men are supposed to be tough. And as the account says, so therefore we are not expected to show emotions, right? If it happens to a young female and the female is to report, the tendency of the female being believed is very higher over that of a male. Because we assume that with the male, it doesn't happen to them, and male are stronger than women. Therefore, I've even heard some advocates say that, it's difficult for a male to be raped. Wrong. That's not true. So those kind of perceptions which are built up makes one to think that it doesn't happen to male, one. And two, if it happened, it's very isolated, far from the truth. It's really, really rampant that we think. So now the question to the Ghanaian context and, America or anywhere else, I believe that no matter where you find yourself, these things do happen. Let me use this to tell people that for anything to happen, in most cases, there has to be someone closer to you involved in it. Okay? So even those who deal with spirituality and all of that will tell you that for the witches in your house to be able to come and they really affect anything on you, there has to be an insider, right? And as the accounts say, So in psychology, we always tell people that be wary of people that you know. In society, in life, we say that be wary of strangers, right? Because we feel that strangers, you don't know them, they might kidnap you, take you somewhere, your parents will not know where they took you and all of that. But then when it comes to abuse, and in this case, sexual, physical, emotional, or any of the abuses, it is most of the time from someone we know to someone we trust. In most cases, these are the perpetrators, right? So it's someone in the community, someone in the society. It might be that respectable person that everybody looks up to. And therefore, it's very difficult for someone to really believe that they really did that. And that is part of why they get away with what they do.
Right.
So that is one of how. The other thing is the influence. They buy their way around. So going beyond, someone who is just picking up, but someone who is very affluent and influential in society. They buy their way around. By that way, also, people who are supposed to really come to the forefront and defend the victim, in this case, will be rather defending the perpetrator.
Right.
So that is the second part about how these things happen. Now, when it comes to therapy, Kenneth did mention that he had to seek professional therapy when he moved to Canada. I wanted to ask, when it happened, right, most likely people in the family, especially when you told your mom and she believed you, unlike the uncle, and I'll come back to that one.
Right.
You moved to Canada and sought the professional opinion. How did that help with the healing process?
Okay, so I guess that's the question for me.
Right.
How that really helped was the fact that I could get something more like out of like a space that I could not expect it. So someone that I don't know, someone that I don't really know who they are, but I know they are professional in the field. And just knowing that alone gave like the relief, and also they were able to provide like clear information and process and steps that I had to take or to kind of have a complete healing out of the situation.
Thank you very much for the answer. And that is why I asked. Let us realize one thing: it is okay to have Christ and to have a therapist. When Ken was talking earlier, he made mention about being too much of a Christian, right? And to an extent, to paraphrase, some of the disadvantages of being a Christian versus advantages, right? And some of the disadvantage in this case could be that the over-reliance on nyamebeye, not seeking professional opinion. So that can be dangerous because let's note, we have our the normal psychosocial support system, which comes with our family, our friends, and all of that. But let's realize that there is a difference and there is a limit to what they can do versus what somebody is trained to do. Right? So with our various professions, I might be able to give you an advice on how to invest. But if you go to an investor, they will give you a more professional advice. So just as we go to professionals for anything at all, let us realize it is okay, 100% okay, to also seek a therapist or counseling or any other professional advice when it's needed. So now back to the case and the issue of trust. I've already mentioned that it's people that we trust that unfortunately hurt us.
Right.
And that is why it hurts more when it happens. Because if it's a stranger, you might be able to easily find a reason to forgive, right? But then if it's someone that you know, someone that you trust, so first, you know, two, you trust. So the higher you go, the more hurting it is, right? And then if it also becomes a family and all of that. So we've talked about people that we trust that hurt us. Now let's move to the incident has happened. I'm telling someone that I believe in, that I trust. Then that person also dismisses my emotions, what I'm telling them, what I went through. So now, first trust is broken. Second trust is being broken now, right? So double jeopardy. You are now in dealing with two major issues. So let's notice, first of all, as they say, trust is like a glass. Once it's broken, you cannot put it back together. I want to believe, and this is not a question for you to answer, Kenneth, but I want to believe that since that happened, it will be very difficult for Kenneth to go to that uncle to discuss anything of importance to him with that uncle. Right? So let's realize that anytime somebody is to come to us with any concern at all that they're going through, let's take it with all seriousness. If you don't have any opinion to share on it, remember, silence is a language. You can use it. Maybe what that person needs is a listening ear, just for you to acknowledge what they are going through. And then you can refer them to who can provide them better help. Do not say on the information and discard it or disregard it. Because once you do that, you are trampling upon the trust that person had in you, for which they came to you and told you. The other thing also is the community should be open in talking about some of these issues. Because in most cases, more often than not, we tend to think that the fact that we don't talk about something, it does not exist. My father told me one day that anything that has a name exists. Therefore, it doesn't matter where it's at or in which community we find ourselves. These things does happen on everyday basis. Now, I think you also asked about the effect.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I'll lead the conversation into the effects that it has. So let me talk about, and let me be fair here. So let me first talk about the effect that it will have on the perpetrator, right? In this case, the one that did it.
Okay.
So if or when the family is to find out and they are to go after the perpetrator, it definitely does cause a discourse between the families, right? But that is not to say why you should not report. And that is why you should report, because you need a discourse so that it doesn't continue to happen. The other thing is that person may feel guilty. And I say may because there are some of them that drives excitement and energy from doing it. Therefore, they don't have that guilt. The psychopath and the sociopath, right? But then there are some that does it for other reasons. It could be they've heard, they've seen someone do it, they watched it somewhere, so they wanted to just practice it, or they were in a state of mind for which led them to doing it. Therefore, after doing it, they might have that guilt and they will have to deal with it. Either way, they also go through certain phases for which they may also need help. Therefore, we have to also provide equally loving, tender to them as they go through the repercussions of their actions. Okay? So that is that part. Now, to the victim, which is the biggest problem here. Now, for that victim, depending on the age and their stage of development, what may happen is that person will not have trust in the community, in the society, and in the family. Definitely not trust for the perpetrator, right? Now, this trust in the society is broken. They might have a trust for distrust for that gender. So it may come out that, oh, all women are like this. So if I'm a male victim, then I see females to be abusers, to be molesters. And also, in the case where most cases, if not all, of these molestations comes with some ordeal, pain, agony, bad memories, right? So now, if I'm a male victim, having any relationship, and I mean intimate relationship with another female, may cause me to have these flashbacks. Therefore, it's difficult for... Sorry, were you saying something?
No, I was listening.
Okay. Therefore, it's difficult for that male to have an affectionate relationship with a female. And that is why I think I appeared on one of the programs on Hope TV, Wounds of the Heart. And I talked with Pastor and I was telling them why some people tend to be homosexuals, right? That is not the exclusive reason, but part of why. So because of that distress for the other gender, and it could be either way, whether male or female.
Right.
Because of that distress, then they'll rather feel more secure with their same sex. So that is one. The other thing is the anger with which they build towards society. So now, if you find abusers, you realize that most of them were abused. Okay? So most abusers turns out to have been abused. So because of what they went through, now they've either normalized it. So, okay, this is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Therefore, they have that anger in them that because this person did it to me, they also do it to somebody else. I don't know if you had a teacher who told you that they did not have A in physics, therefore nobody in the class will have an A. I had one. My physics teacher. So because of that anger in them, then they also do it to other people, right? Now, the other thing is because of also that experience and sometimes other issues that may come with it, they may also tend to have personality disorders. And there are over 15 personality disorders. And I'm not talking about, someone who is melancholy, sanguine, and all of that. No, these are psychiatric conditions. So even including borderline personality, because they feel that people have trampled upon their rights, their dignity, and their privacy. The only that they have control over at that point is what they can do to themselves.
Right.
Therefore, you see some of them engaging in self-harming behaviors, such as cutting, right? So these are some of the things that happens. Some of them too may, due to that same anger, may have oppositional defiant behavior. What that means is that in Akan, they say that omotiechia, right? So they disobey anything, any regulations, any rules that is given to them. They are very defiant in anything that they have to do. Some also have avoidant personality behavior, which means that they avoid all the social norms, the rules. So these people tend to usually be in trouble with the law because they have no regard for rules. I think I've spoken extensively, so I will pause here.
Right.
And if you have a question or any of the panelists want to chime in, then we'll continue.
Yes. Quickly, I'll let Sethina speak. Sethina, as a mother, hearing this story, how did it make you feel? And also, what's, in your own opinion, what are some of the ways parents can protect their children from this terrible act? Because when Kenneth was describing his ordeal, he mentioned that he was sent to go and take something. It was raining. He was asked to sleep over. He was given something to drink, which made him sleep so deeply he couldn't even wake up when that very terrible act was happening. So as a mother, first of all, how did this story make you feel? And also, what, in your opinion, are some of the ways we can protect our children, and especially the male child? Because a mother is quick to check her female child when she comes from somewhere. She's quickly to check her and see if everything is okay. But hardly do we do that for the male child. So in your opinion, how can we do better?
Okay, Evie, thank you very much. When he was speaking, I was just saying, wow, because we don't usually hear this from male kids when it happens. You said it. Males tend to hide certain things because of the culture we trained our kids to live in, and all that, which is not helpful male kids especially. For parents, I will say that train your kids in such a way that your kids become your friends. Let them speak and tell you everything that goes on. Even from when they are not able to speak, you can start having a conversation with them so that as soon as they are able to speak, they tell you everything.
Right.
For those who know me, they know I'm a very paranoid mom. As soon as I hear something small, I'm quick to ask, what is happening? Why did you fall? Oh, sorry, and all that. Be friends with your kids, and especially when they go somewhere. My kid is only 4 years, but I'm trying to build this thing with him that he tells me everything that happens in school. What did Madam teach? Tells you, where did you go? What were you doing over there? Did you eat over there? It's quite difficult when they are kids. Mine is 4 years old, going on 5, and it's very difficult to tell him not to eat in someone's house.
Right.
I think he's trying to pick that up. He goes somewhere and said, Mommy, I didn't eat anything. No. It is Bibi who ate. Bibi went to eat rice here and there. So I asked him, Bibi, you have to stop this and all that. So parents need to listen to their kids. At this stage, they will not really lie, even though there are things they will be learning from their friends and then they will be lying one way or the other. There are times they say certain things and you need to trust them. Even if it's not true, have a conversation with him. Ask this person, so and so. I heard you beat Ohineba. Is it true? It's not true. Oh, okay. Oh, Ohineba, that's a lie. Don't do that again. Don't be lying. You have this conversation with your friends. Let them be your friends. Let them tell you everything that is happening. And I'm very sorry for what happened to Pastor when he was a kid. But I think parents need to be quick to listen to their kids. BBC, and then they'll say, hey, yeah. That's how we react in Ghana, and I think it's not the best. We need to listen to our kids and then take the necessary steps. You don't just say, this thing happened, it's okay, don't tell anyone, let this be between the two of us. If your kid trusted you and told you, the mother, I think it is good to speak to it about with your husband. And so this is what our child told us. Let's do this. You can discuss it. If it is proper for you to go to the family and then discuss with them, this is what my son told me, and this is what your daughter or your son has done to my kid. We need to work on it. They are kids, and then some of these things, it's not their fault. It's the Mr. Philip was saying something. He's a psychologist, and he said it's because of what they have seen or heard or seen someone do. That is why they engage in some of these acts. They are kids, but they want to experiment when they see some of these things. So we need to listen to our kids, and we need to talk to them. And you say, so I can't speak about sex with them and all that. At the very tender stage, when they start talking, at 2 years, even at 1 year, when they are not able to speak, you need to build that friendship between them so that they open up to you and tell you everything. Me being a mother, I would even cry if my son tells me this is what someone did to me. It's kind of strange, but we need to teach them some of these things. They go out there, someone holds their private parts, they should be able to come and tell you that, Mommy, this person touched my private part. Or you should be able to tell them that if you go and someone touches your private part, come and tell me. Don't let anybody, if the person does this, tell him, no, please don't touch talk to them. Let them know at that stage that this is your private part, this is your breast, this is your bottles, and then don't let your teacher, your friends, or anybody touch them. Kids love to experiment, so they'll be doing this thinking they're experimenting, which is wrong. They will grow up with it, and then it will be something, it will grow into something else that you don't want to see your kids do.
Right.
So I would advise that parents will make their kids their friends so that they tell them everything that happens with them.
Thank you so much, Safina. I couldn't agree with her anymore. We should open the communication lines with our kids. They should be able to talk to us freely. It shouldn't be this sort of almost like a scary relationship where you can't tell your parents what is going on with the fear of how they would react. I think we should create a relationship where kids can come to us and tell us exactly what they need to tell us, so they don't go to uncles that will not believe them, as happened to Kenneth in this sad situation. This is Real Talk. I would ask you to go on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. Leave your questions, your opinions, your comments on the discussion so far. Go for a quick break. When we come back, we have more to discuss. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In a world where hopelessness stirs us from dawn to dusk, our only source of solace remains in the blessed hope of our redemption through Jesus Christ. It is for this purpose that the Adventist Youth Ministry, in partnership with the Southwest Ghana Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, brings to you a program dubbed Hope in the Troubled World. God's anointed servants, Pastor Godfred Kwesi Ataburo and Pastor Alfred Kwesi Esiem, will be ministering to us from the Takoradi Central Seventh-day Adventist Church live on Hope Channel Ghana each day, starting from the 16th to the 22nd of May, 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. each day. This program will replicate in all Adventist churches across the nation. Christ is expecting us to spread the good news. I will go. Will you?
Welcome back from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV with the show Real Talk. You can join us live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. Today I have with me virtually Pastor Kenneth Apiakubi, Philip Yentumi, and Sethina Ifwa Arthur. And today we have a sad story. Kenneth is sharing a life story, a personal story, something terrible that happened to him. A close family member, a woman, abused him when he was a child, just a 10 years old boy. He was sent to go for something, and when he got there, it was pouring down. So he decided, he was asked to stay and sleep. I mean, this is not so strange coming from a family friend, someone close enough to be family. So he did. Little did he know that he had been drugged and abused by the daughter of the person she went to see. And this was a 23-year-old girl who was the daughter of a pastor. So the funny thing is, these things are not happening to us by strange, unknown people. It is not some strange, ungodly person or a non-Christian out there who did this. This was a young girl, a pastor's child, who is supposed to know better, who did this. So you can tell that Kenneth, yes, was abused and it was horrible, but the issue of evil things happening is not too far from us. And this young girl who did this probably also has gone through something that's given this horrible idea. How did she sit down and she actually said, oh, I'll put something in this boy's drink so that he can sleep? I mean, to be able to calculate such an act, you should see that something was going on in her mind, something was going on with her life that made her do such a terrible thing. So yes, she needs help as much as, even if not more than Kenneth needed in that process, because she needs to work on herself. God forbid she does this again to someone else. And Kenneth, I'll come back to you, and then I'll ask, look, how you said you had, thankfully you've gotten professional help now, but how were you when it affected? What was some of the changes you saw in your life? Were you quiet? Were you timid? Were you not involving yourself in your social activities? Were you still the open, bubbly, obviously carefree boy you were before this happened? Or you could see that it affected you in ways where it showed in your attitude?
Yeah, good question. So if maybe most people don't know, but Kenneth is an introvert person, funnily enough. But when this happened, one thing that I placed on my mind is to shun myself a bit away from women. And so, of course, you go to school, you have women in the class, girls in the class and all that kind of things. But, some of my friends probably even thought that I don't know how they say it. I've forgotten about it, but they say it in a different way, like one no more, all that kind of things. They were saying because I wasn't having any girlfriend even in high school, so people thought that that's the situation. But of course, they had their own reasons. But I also had my reasons in mind, which was I don't want to get close to them. I had some few friends which were honest and caring, but I really distanced myself, and I was very careful when I go to a place where I would find myself alone with other people.
Okay, so after healing, do you see a difference in your attitude?
I mean, yeah, 100%. I have more women friends than men friends now, which is interesting. Phil is laughing. He want to know why. Yeah, and I have kind of, it has been a gospel to me now. It is the gospel according to Kenneth, and the rescue of how Phil would say Jesus and therapy helped me to become who I am today. So there has been a huge change, and I pay huge respect for women today and the struggle they go through. I mean, they go through struggles, men go through the same struggles, but this experience have made me realize that that's the nature of humanity, and we just have to help people who are going through this to overcome this struggle, and those who have experienced this will overcome them, because some people don't have anyone to talk to, just like how it started at the beginning, but it has been very different after going through the process and having a professional help and praise.
Okay, so my next question then will be, how living this life, having to live this life and getting out of it and healing beautifully as you have done, what would be your advice to parents when it comes to looking out for their boy child or their male child? I mean, what are some of the extra things they should do to make sure that something like this never happens to their child?
Yeah, thank you. So when you're asking this question, it seems a bit different when you compare our parents back home and our probably parents in Western world, like America or Canada. The difference is obviously there is a little bit of listening. And so I would say parents in Africa, I'll probably say this in Chi. Your mom no more you know, your best room say they should spend time with them and talk to them. Our parents in Africa, and they mean you'll be in free. Just a few of them probably spend time with their children and talk to them. I know that Satina will be like, can I listen to my children? So you're wrong. But, you know, I'm just trying to make it generalize that, yes,
Right.
your parents, you know, the man said school, unya say, great, and how was it? How was everything? They don't really spend time talking to you. Kofi before you in the court, that's all.
Right.
And so I'm just saying that they should create an environment, I said it last week, to listen to the children, have family time, family worship. So when you're Muslim, have family worship. If you're a Christian, have family worship together. Those moments will help people to open up, have a proper conversation, and just be free with their parents. And so that's what I would say to the mothers. And the victims who may be involved in this, it's very hard to actually find someone to trust nowadays. Right. But I think you can definitely trust on one person in your life who will be willing, who will be happy to listen to you and to also provide some help for you. And don't forsake professional help if you can afford it.
Okay, that's great. But quickly, before I move on to Sathina, your perspective on how society can make sure that the male child is not shunned or ashamed to come out and say, oh, this person did this to me. I know even for the girl child, we're encouraging them to come out. But I know hands down, a girl child can come out and come and say, auntie, this uncle did this and this to me easily than a male child can come and say, oh, auntie, that auntie did this and this to me. So as a society, how can we act, or what can we do to give the male child the encouragement or the confidence to come and say, this has happened to me by this person and I didn't like it?
Yeah, I think this is a very difficult thing for the society because we live in a world where technology is even promoting women more than men.
I agree.
You go on the internet, there is more women objectification than men. And so it is a bit difficult. But the little thing that we can do if we want to change the world is to be ready to hear both sides of the story. When a woman comes and tells you, hey, this is the situation, spend time and listen. If a guy says the same thing, please spend some time and listen, because they are also human beings. Some people always think that women is, as you've already mentioned, are often raped. Many men are raped, going through those abuse and molestations and all that kind of things. But I think society isn't doing much. And just because of the price that women hold in our society, that's why people tend to pay much attention when women are like molested in their life. And so we should build some equality and some equity and fairness in most of the things that we do in our societies. And that will bring a bit of a change. But until then, let's hope for a better experience from both sides.
I completely agree with you. Sethina, in your obviously layman opinion, I mean, not having experienced this, how would you think society can do better? And also, how would you encourage a male child to speak out when something like this happened to them, and how they can seek for help if they find themselves in such a terrible situation?
Yeah, as Pastor said, in our society now, it's kind of difficult for the male child to go forward and say, this happened to me. Just as we are promoting the girl child, I think it is right that the society does that hand in hand with the male child. Everything we hear nowadays is about the girl child, send your girl child to school. But there are so many guys who don't go to school. If someone rapes you, come and then say it. But we have so many men out there who are going through several abuses who are not able to speak out. So it's high time we encourage our male child to speak. That part of Bema in Stu and Bema sin Stillman Sana Waham, that thing is hard. Let's put those things aside and then encourage our male kids to speak. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes my kids, the female is the smaller one, and she likes bullying the guy. So Ohineba comes and he's crying, and I'm like, Ohineba, don't even tell me this. Why are you telling me BB beat you? No, don't say that. You are a man. Like I've begun to learn that he also have emotions. He also has emotions, and he's supposed to cry.
Right.
If someone does something because I learned that if I keep doing that, it will get to a point that BB will do something to him, and then he won't come. Because if he comes, I'm only going to tell him that, oh, you are a man. Why are you crying? Just be brave, be confident. So as parents, as society, let's try and promote the male child just as we are doing same to
for the female child.
We think that, I think why the society is doing that is because when the female child is not married, something might happen and then she will get pregnant. For pregnancy, we would all see it and she's going to be ashamed. For a male child, fine, that something will happen to him, but he is not going to get pregnant. Nothing will show physically on him that he is pregnant. So no one is going to see that. Maybe that's...
Oh, Sadina.
And listen and...
Again.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes. Your line was breaking, yeah.
I was saying that for the parents, just as I said earlier on, I will say it again and again and again. Listen to your kids and speak to them. They are your friends. They are your kids and they are your friends too. So listen to them. Anything they say, listen to it. Even if it is not right, do a little bit of investigation and then you can go ahead to what you do next.
Great. Thank you so much. Philip, our time is fast spent, but final words, your final words, advice to parents on how to keep their male child protected, and also your advice to the male victims that find themselves in this situation, how they should go about it, who should they tell, and how should they go about getting help?
First of all, let me use the ongoing hashtag, fix the country. I would say fix the community. Okay. So we all have a role to play. As somebody will say, what does it got to do with me if somebody is doing something in their privacy? Whatever is thought of comes into action, and the action will either be in public or private. No matter what it is, no matter what you do affects me one way or the other. That is why we have to be each brother's keeper. That is one. Two, for the parents, let's ensure that I'm for community engagement and, having a bigger society. So in as much as we do that, let's make sure that we're still doing it safely. Nowadays, with the sleepovers and all of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the sleepover is with the same gender or a different gender. Right. Now you can't promise it. So you have to be very careful in managing all of this. Let's also train our kids so that they'll know the warning signs. Because in most cases, it starts with, Bejetofe, right? Oh, let me buy this from you. Sometimes it goes straight to the point. But in most cases, there's always a leading thing to it. So let's teach the kids the warning signs so that they can be prepared. Now, then finally, to any victim at all, whether Christian or non-Christian, let's understand it is okay to have Christ and to have a therapist or a psychiatrist. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what condition, please seek for a professional opinion. Having the family and all those social support that we have is good, but let's not neglect that of a professional because Anya Shekrap will not school fees.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. It is okay to have Christ and to seek professional counsel. I mean, those are just true words. I'll read just some 2 comments, then we can go because our time is fast spent. KBR said, a lot of things go on in our homes. It is sad to have this happening in our circle. We must seek help for the lady as well. Though she did this to a young boy, she's likely to do it again to a younger boy. The so-called relatives or the close relatives and those she trusts a lot tend to have the upper hand in hurting our children. Okay, Counselor Frimpong Manso says, Pastor Ken, sorry for your ordeal as a child. This molestation goes on a lot, especially the male child by elderly women, but most goes unreported and unpunished. They hardly talk about it, and it keeps going on and on because nobody believes them when they even report the issue, and at best, they tell other people too. Childhood molestation is one of the factors that negativity shapes personality, so our parents must be extra careful. Thank you so much for our comments. Okay, before we go, as we do, say hi, greetings from abroad. I'll start with my abroad people. Philip, who are you saying hi to?
I want to say hi to every single person under the sound of my voice, especially to my wife and 3 children, and also to my parents. And I just became a grandfather, so to my who gave me the baby, Precious, we congratulate you on your delivery, and you and your husband, Pastor Boafo.
Okay, so, congratulations on being a grandpa.
Thanks.
Okay,
Kenneth, I got a full respect on that name.
Yes. Kenneth, who are you saying hi to?
Yeah, I'm shocked with what Philip just said, but I'll take it away. My special greetings to, again, my mom. I miss her so much. I was hoping to have her at my graduation, but things couldn't work out possibly. So I just want to say hello to her. I miss her so much. And my whole family in Ghana. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends whom we host a program in Canada here, Nana Kwesi Jamal. He is in Ghana right now. I want to say hello to him and his family. And for all those who were able to join and share this moment with us. Thank you.
Great. Congratulations, Kenneth, on your graduation. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, that reminds me, Kenneth. So right now, do you have a girlfriend? Are you able to? Do you have a girl?
Hello?
You can hear me. You can hear me loud and clear. No line is breaking from that Canada that yes.
No, sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you break. Can you repeat the question again?
I said, do you have a girlfriend?
I prefer not to answer that question.
Oh my God!
Master, this is not the one that we
answered every single question I asked you on this show, but for this one, he pleased the
Pastor, if not, you leave the doubt in the minds of people that there are too many that you can name. So just name those that don't know.
No, you can think for some people. I would just prefer not to answer that question.
No problem.
One day they'll find out when my wedding date is.
Great. You have the right not to. It's fine. When your wedding day is here, we'll see who it is. No problem. I saw this meme that said that if you come to my wedding and you don't see the babe that you think you know, keep quiet and eat your jollof. So that is what we are doing today. Selena, who are you saying hi to?
Okay, I want to say hi to my family, Valley View University, Fishman Campus Community, and to a special one to Dr. Patricia Nyameche. She's actually taking care of the kids while I'm here.
Oh.
So I want to say to you, Madam Pat. And to my in-law and my mom, I want to wish them a happy Mother's Day in advance. Thank you, and I love you so much.
That's amazing. Thank you guys so much for gracing the show. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Kenneth, so much for sharing this story, for educating us on this, and also for giving us such insightful information to obviously help the parents out there and even the children out there and anyone that has gone through this and anyone that has been a perpetrator. Hopefully listening to this will give you a change of heart and you tend to be a good person. Thank you all so much. Philip, thank you for that amazing presentation and education you've given us today. Satina, thank you for bringing the parents factor. We here at Hope TV are so grateful to have you guys on the show today. We appreciate you and we say God bless you. I'd like to say thank you to my amazing crew. You guys continue to do your good job, your great job, your amazing job. God richly bless you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in advance, to all the mothers out there, especially to my mother for being such an amazing, powerful woman of God. Thank you for your love and for your protection. And also to Madam Rita, thank you so much for being such an amazing support. To everyone that joined us today, God bless you. And I'm always grateful that you always tune in and watch us. We'll come your way same time next week with yet another insightful, educative, and entertaining topic. This is Real Talk. We'll come your way same time next week. Enjoy the rest of the day.